G'day and welcome back to the shed of basketball truth that is Studio 3 for Ball Don't Lie Australia. And I've got a gorgeous youngish couple on the couch.
What are you trying to say about youngish?
It's averaged out.
Yeah, well, let's move on. Let's move on. Look, I've obviously got Anthony Kopcikas, the Grafton Viking kid himself, back. Of course, there's some, more recent body of work as well with
a couple games here.
a couple of 100 games for the Brisbane Capitals, and of course Elliot Pittman down the other end, really bringing the young to the youngish couple on the couch today. I went with Ish, mate. Like, come on. Like, you're younger than me. Like, take the win. Come on. But boys, back on the couch. Blitz NBL's back, pretty much. Blitz is underway. I've been lucky enough to get down and get myself a media pass, and got some great seats there, but at halfway behind Billy Song, which was
just make you feel right at home.
Every time you turn around, and the greatest part was where he was seated. He'd turn around and give me one first before he'd give some of these older head media guys one. It was like, oh, it's just like Caps.
Don't get too big a head now.
That's where everything like Caps sort of ended. But no, huge thank you to the NBL for having me along down there for a few games during Blitz. I will be back for the rest of the Bullets games. So
nice.
Yes, should be very good. But look, there's been also a little bit of basketball happening here in Brizzy of late, and the 3x3 Australian Champs League has wrapped up, and some familiar faces, Anthony, are heading overseas.
Yeah, a lot of current and actually just current, and Benny Volkman, former teammate. All right, so it was really good to see. Matty Johns playing really well. Like, it's a very suited to his kind of repertoire. Like, very switchable. Like, great defender, good athlete, can shoot, do a bit of everything. Kind of, he perfectly fits the mold of like a 3-on-3 guy. And then you've got the NBL future star in Tim Sung, and then NBL former star in Brendan Tees.
Yep.
Kai Woodfall, 2 MVPs out of the last 3 tournaments for him. And then, Big Benny Volkman resting up a calf injury. So hopefully he's back by the time they head off to Macau that they won the trip to. So, yeah, it's very exciting. It's they kind of have worked pretty hard at it and started to get into a groove. So, it's a lot of feeling out for that 3-on-3 stuff, because it's very different to your 5-on-5 basketball.
It is. And look, hopefully that calf injury that Benny Volkman's picked up had nothing to do with him taking a knee on the boat. And congrats, Benny, on the engagement. But just learn to go down slowly, come back up.
Getting back up.
Yeah.
Big boys go down, can't get up as fast.
Yeah.
Indeed. But congrats, boys, off to Macau. Magical place, Macau is. Magical place. It's it's very interesting. Very interesting. But you guys will have a great time. And some of those Matty Johns dunks or throw-ins, that was
bit Dwight Howard-esque, Blake Griffin-esque.
That was a bit going on there, but congrats, gents. Enjoy Macau. Should be fantastic. And we're so excited about all of that. We didn't stop and talk about our sponsors. Big thank you to Dr Electrician, servicing all of Brisbane areas plus North Adelaide. And, of course, big supporters of the show, local card shop of Woolloongabba. Crack 'em. Of local card shop of Woolloongabba, who also support us with our Crackham. Sorry. All right, boys, the Blitz is back. Things are rolling. You know, obviously all the talk and preseason signing stuff, that's now done. Got the squad. The majority of these players are going to be there for this season. Time to work things down, have a look, see who's done all right, see who's got some work to do. Got some work to do. So, look, they're the champs till they're the champs no more. Let's start with the Jackies.
The 0-2 Jackies.
Preseason 0-2 Jackies.
No, they look all right. They're obviously trying to figure out what their rotation will be. With like a few pieces coming out and a few new coming in. Obviously, Jared torn up about Marcus Lee leaving the Jackies.
Yep, he's absolutely devastated. Yeah. The amount of emotional phone calls I've had from him is just... No,
but it will be...
But remember, guys, it ain't weak to speak. And if I can help you on your emotional journey, just reach out and I will do my best.
But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they end up doing, like if they do start Magne or if it's going to be like they did in the first game with Gorjak Gak.
There we go. Yep.
But yeah, it's going to be a bit of feeling out. I think Craig Sword should probably get into the rotation as a starter. At least I think his defense is there, and then.
And he can just slice you apart on the offense.
Yeah.
Jeez.
No.
If you're going to handball him in like that, come on, buddy.
But yeah, he actually is a good slasher.
It writes itself.
But yeah, I think obviously it'll be playing with the rotation a bit for the next few games that they have. Where are they off to now?
They're heading off to Singapore.
Yeah, so they'll feel it out a bit more there, see what Rubes gives them at the 3-4 and kind of find where they want to be, if Majok Dang's going to start or where we're going to go with it. But like Jordan Crawford looked as good as ever. Milton Doyle kind of had a slow start. We didn't get to watch the game tonight because we were jumping on the pod, but yeah. The first game, there was good signs, and then obviously it's preseason, so you're not too worried about anything that's coming out of it.
I like the Ruben Tarangi signing in the off season. I think he's not a box score guy, but he provides a lot that I think they kind of need. Chemistry style guy who can really hustle defensive end. So.
Yeah, and just got to look to replace McVeigh in some sort of way because obviously he's a big part of last season. So. Be coming out of that, and yeah, how Doyle and Sword are going to work together, see how that goes for him. But
I got 2 words for you, Elliot. This is exactly how you replace McVeigh. Nick Stoddart.
Yeah.
Let him cook.
He's just a little bit smaller than Jack.
Look, there's a few comparisons that don't quite perfectly, but hey, let him cook. It would be great to see.
I would have liked to see him get in one of the games. I know a couple of their DPs did get pretty significant minutes. It would have been nice to see him out there for those ones, but we'll see if he gets on the trip to Singapore and if he gets to play there. So yeah, it'll be nice to see him in a bit of the action, but I feel like they're going to probably lean to Majok Dang to try and get most of that Jack McVeigh 4 minutes.
Oh, look, there might be other things that, seem like an easier fit. Sure. But,
so he's going to hit the weight room.
He does. Obviously saw Stoddy on the weekend, and yeah, the handshake wasn't as bone crunching for me as it should have been. So definitely hit the weight, Stoddy. But yeah, look, best of luck. I believe he's staying in Brisbane.
Okay.
So won't be making the trip, but over to Singapore. But still, he's made the roster. Start there. He's also, been a bit crook. So bouncing back, head back to Tassie, get amongst it, and get ready to go. And it's one of those things that it's a very long NBL season, and you just got to stay ready and never know when your opportunity is going to come. All right. Look, first team done.
Tick it off.
Tick. team number 2. Well, let's jump into just a little bit north of Tasmania, Melbourne United.
I didn't know if you were going to be like go to Cairns. I was trying to figure it out. I didn't know if it was like nicknaming the giant guy Tiny, you know.
No, well, we didn't actually mention Jordan Crawford, but
I said he played well.
Yeah.
And once you've seen him in RL, real life, it's like it only makes what he does more impressive.
Yeah.
So 100%. But look, guys, Melbourne United, what are our thoughts thus far?
I mean, Delhi looks real good. I mean, he only played limited minutes, but Jesus, he looked, really aggressive, shooting the ball well. Yeah, we were talking about Supercoach last week. Put him on your Supercoach team.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be scoring a lot of points. And Shea Ili looked just as good as well. Anytime that he plays aggressive, you're in for a good one. So I think the Olympic qualifiers that he played in has kind of spurred him on to be a bit more like assertive in the offense. Obviously, his defense speaks for itself, and you're always going to expect that highest caliber of defense out of him. And then, like, if you get this extra amount that he's offering on offense, at least in this preseason, then you're bloody house money.
Yeah, it looks like a classic United squad, like a good unit, good backup five, like 1 through 5. And you just don't like playing United, so it's going to be another year of that, I think. But yeah, the 5 spot though, that'll be interesting to see how they go with that, because I think 1 through 4 they're pretty strong. 5's not so much, and with the JLA departing, so
Yeah,
have to see how they go there.
And Hook 40 as well.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, so I think they've got Rob Lowe starting at the moment, so we'll have to
Rob
see.
Lowe and Marcus Lee.
Yeah, so
In the big spot, which I know Jared is. He just loves the guy.
stoked, absolutely stoked.
I mean,
not good love.
Rob Lowe retired 2 years ago and then just came back on a whim for Melbourne United. So after his first 2 air balls, he kind of looked pretty good. But before, like at that point, I was like, geez, Rob.
Look, it was crucial-ish in the end.
Dust
like
the
those
rust off.
and that's what the Blitz is for. If you haven't already done it in those, preseason games, come along, do it at Blitz, shake it off. Everyone's understanding. Like the kids are there for a good dance and a sign of something at the end, which, Delhi did a great job of. Like, there was only one person that all the kids wanted to, and I'm kidding you not, leading over the edge of the balconies with their Crocs, wanting Delhi to sign their Crocs. Why? Because, hey, it's going to hold a signature really well, and it's your Croc,
True.
Yeah, look, not in my day, but hey.
What did you think of Jack White as pseudo Luke Travers replacement?
Yeah, I'm intrigued thus far. I like what I saw at the Blitz. There was a couple of really nice moments where the big fella was able to get upstairs, and there was a couple of nice throwdowns. Positive thus far. I mean, he's coming back from the NBA, where really he didn't get the kind of burn he was genuinely looking for. So maybe we see a Delhi style return, come back to United, re-up, re-armor, go again, and bounce back hopefully more than one season. But it's Jack White. If he's in form, he's going to look good on NBL. All right, one of the teams we haven't seen thus far at the Blitz, Sydney Kings.
Playing as we speak.
That's why we haven't seen them. Yes.
Yeah.
We haven't seen them in the first couple of days of action. Now, lots of people are really high on them. Obviously, they got a pretty well-known coach in the NBL. He's got some W's. He's got some W's.
Just a few.
Yeah. Look, he's right there. He's just off camera, but he's made the wall. The only NBL coach, just checking. Yep, only NBL coach on the wall in Gorge.
No John Riley cards up there or anything?
Yeah, calm down. Look, I'm pretty sure I had one with me, but it wasn't the time to get it signed, as as he was, being asked to leave
Yeah.
by Vaughan after. Realistically, he didn't do a lot in that sense, but it's that situation where his team had the bench decks, so he had to go. Anywho, let's refocus back on the Kings. Back on the Kings. Xavier Cooks. Are we got Cam Oliver? Are we going to see Space Cam, or what are we going to see from him? Jalen Galloway, Bull Quoll, Jalen Adams, and that's probably just your starting five. Behind them, there's still some.
It's
still
such
a lot more.
Deep team. Like it's the thing that worries me the most is just balancing the egos. I mean, like Gorge is probably more suited to do it than anyone. But it's like a lot of dudes that probably coming in expecting quality minutes. Like we didn't even mention like Isaiah Liafa, Alex Tui,
Sean Bruce,
Quat Noi. Like there's a lot of guys.
Malawatch.
Yeah.
There's some pieces. Alec, yeah.
Like it's a lot. Like there's a lot of wings that they're just not going to get as many minutes. Like Malawatch should be playing, like from how he's played at NBL 1 level, and then like his couple little cameos that he's played for the Kings last year, he should be actually getting minutes somewhere. And in this team, I can't kind of picture where he's going to find the minutes behind like Galloway and Bull Quoll.
Yeah. You just wonder if they all kind of went, oh, okay, we're pushing for a championship. I'll take a minute cut and see if we can get there. But I don't know if that's the case or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's always a tricky thing too to, think that, say that, but can you walk that line for the entire season?
Yeah.
That can be tricky.
I mean, that's the only thing that we're like picking on them for is that they're probably too good.
Yeah.
Like,
which is kind of unfair. They're.
I do think losing Geordie Hunter was a big loss. Like as either like a sometime starting center or a backup, he was like just such a handy tool to have. Like he so consistent, was always going to get you rebounds, make good decisions. And then every now and then he'd pop off for like a high points game. But yeah, it's a bit like it's a big loss. Obviously, having Cam Oliver over him and Jonah Bolden is an upgrade. But you might like drop back on the backup center minutes. You're probably playing more Quat unless Kelly?
Lupepe.
If he's able to play in his rookie season.
Look, fingers crossed, but realistically, we're nitpicking on paper.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you got to do at the start of the year, don't you?
Yeah, right? Hope that those nits pick. But, look, they're the team that everyone's going to be looking at going, okay.
Yeah.
They're the big piece.
They are the benchmark that is being set.
Yes. Well, look, speaking of Geordie Hunter, let's head on back down south to southeast Melbourne Phoenix. And this is a team that I was able to watch at the Blitz and just sort of they passed the sort of test. Every time you sort of look around, you're like, oh, yeah, of course. Oh, they've actually got some depth here.
A lot of new pieces.
Yeah. A lot of new pieces. But some bits that might work.
Yeah, a lot of interesting pieces. Like they probably added the most Australian talent this year. And then you add in like some serviceable, or in Derek Walton's case, one of the elite point guards, and then Weiskamp looks pretty good. And I can't think of the big's name.
Matthew Hurt.
He
should be solid.
He looks pretty good. Like he rebounded the ball well. Didn't shoot it as well as I thought he was going to, but first game in preseason. But yeah, they look frisky. And the thing is about the NBL in recent years is that there's no real easy games, and when you kind of were teetering up the season at before the Blitz, you kind of well, Southeast, I don't think they'll be very good this year. And now that I'm seeing their team and they're playing, you're they could really knock some people off. They've got the capacity to get hot or get downhill. Defensively, they should be solid, and then they are quick, and it could be a track meet.
But we know Sobey can turn teams around just down. So, and he was pretty inefficient in his first game, I'm pretty sure as well. So,
I mean, he looked all right. He looked athletic. I mean, a couple of things he did, I was like, geez, I think he's like 34.
yeah, wow.
And he was like sky high. And I was like, oh, okay. So he's still got some of that lift in him.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can't take too much out of it. I think the shots that he was taking were a lot better than what he was taking at the Bullets last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think a situation like this really suits more Sobey's style, where he doesn't have to, like we saw at the Bullets, where he had to stretch and be that guy. In this team, he'll be able to slot in, do what works for him. And yeah, I quite liked him when he got downhill. He seemed quite strong, able to hold his own when there was a bit of contact in the air, that kind of stuff. So, look, early season signs, don't mind, considering it's preseason, but yeah, team that could really be an uncomfortable matchup.
Yeah, yeah. I think they're just like the size is probably underrated as well. Like you got Geordie Hunter at 6'10", 6'11", and then
Hurt's probably the same height.
Yeah, and then Wisecamp's like 6'9". So that like starting like 3, 4, 5 is really big. So I mean, it's just something to look at. Like they're all kind of able to play in space and move the ball and shoot. I mean, Geordie Hunter can shoot a ton, but yeah, I think it'll be interesting. Derek Walton Jr. will have like basically the keys, and if he's good, then Southeast Melbourne will be at least like a middle of the pack team.
At least. Alrighty, let's head across the ditch over to New Zealand.
Back down to Tassie.
Tassie's cousin. A little bit further away, the New Zealand Breakers. And look, Parker Jackson Cartwright. What are we expecting? Are we expecting a MVP-esque season? Are we expecting a little bit of a comeback to the crowd? Or are we just expecting, are we expecting him to just play his role and, do a good job in that role?
He finished last season pretty fired up, so I wouldn't be surprised if he comes out with that same energy, that MVP caliber performances.
Yeah, I think he's going to be asked to do more. I don't know if he's going to do it. I mean, it's one of those things, being a few years in the NBL, import, I think it becomes harder because people start to know your game a lot more.
They get used to you,
yeah.
Unless you're Bryce Cotton, but
yeah, I mean that he's the exception to most rules. But like in recent times, like you look, and even like Jalen Adams last year, not great.
Yeah, true.
And then you look at like Tyler Harvey, first year, so good. Second year, there's a lot of those point guards that kind of take that step back when like people have scouted them more, like kind of got used to the tendencies. I don't know. I think he'll definitely be asked for more than what he produced last year because they just don't have Will McDowell White next to him.
Yeah. Which is a lot to ask for.
I don't think Mooney's that guy. I think he's a good finisher. I don't think he's a good creator. But I kind of like some of their pieces. Like Mo King looks pretty good. That almost dunk that he got was going to be bloody wild. And the next he looks really, at least really interesting.
Yeah, Lopez.
Yeah.
Yes. Kareem Lopez. He's got the hair of a much younger, much skinnier Brooke Lopez. But Hops got up for a monster two-hander, and then also totally comfortable, knocking down the three as well. Yeah. So dangerous set of skills. We'll have to see how he develops over the season, but looks good athletically. Wasn't too afraid of the contact in the game over the weekend, and for preseason, coming in looks good.
I don't know how I feel about the Freddie Gillespie experience so far. I got any opinions?
Interesting. I think they're trying to replace Cheatham. I don't know if that's
Yeah.
that easy.
Yeah, look, jury's still out on that one. After one preseason game that I've now watched with him, I was definitely not sold completely. We'll just have to see how that goes. But, yeah, I want to see more.
Yeah, I guess if you get a solid backup plan with Jonah Bolden backing him up. So, you know, you're kind of going to get someone that rebounds the ball well and then has the capacity to go off on offense. But, yeah.
Yeah, and look, you know, one guy I didn't mind was Max Darling. Actually, he had a few more minutes.
It was good.
He played quite
really
good.
Well.
He is a tree trunk of a man.
Yeah.
Like, wow, just right all the way down. But yeah, you know,
I think there was a play where he drove and it was like Ben Henschel maybe guarding him, and he took one dribble and hit him in the chest, and he was like,
Mama, there goes that man.
I need.
Yeah, he played good. We'll have to see how his time, really flows out with the Breakers. But I liked what I saw so far. It was one of those things. It was again, of course, limited minutes, but like,
yeah. I hope to see some Shawnee Bairstow minutes in the next game, hopefully. So,
and they got Mitch McCarron, so
yeah, Mitch played really well. That we completely missed.
No,
he played.
We hadn't got to it yet.
Okay, yeah, sorry, we're saving him for last. Yeah, Mitch played really well. Really aggressive, shot the ball well. Kind of a bit different to what he's been doing in recent years. He's been a lot more just creating and taking a back seat, like offensively. And I thought it was a really good change. He was really good in that game.
Yeah, it was, and I liked the fact that he's got a couple of big fines. So there's obviously a few big fellas there in the Breakers, and he'll be able to teleport that ball to wherever he needs to. A couple of big targets, which will very much help him because he still has that ability to look that way, fire the ball that way, and make it look completely calm as you like, and just I've been taught this since I was 12, guys. Like, come on. Like, this is how do you pass the ball? So, look, I think he'll I believe it's a 2-year contract, so it should be it looks good for him thus far. I think he'll be comfortable.
Yeah. So. It's a good role for him too. Like, instead of having the whole offense on his like creative back, you've got Jackson Parker, right? That was right.
Parker Jackson.
God damn. Yeah. I always get his name wrong. There's too many names.
They're all last names to me, but
no, but with him there, then there's like way less pressure on him to be the primary creator, so he can just come on and do his thing on that second unit.
Yeah, for sure. And we saw at the end of the game, he's still got that calm head. Easily able to step into those 3 balls, and that one he hit right towards the end just looks so pure.
Yeah. I mean, the rest of the team didn't really have a calm head or any closing ability, but that's for other days. It's preseason. It's preseason.
Exactly. It's preseason. I mean, you said this last time you're here. Preseason.
I mean, also Bryce had like 15 free throws in that game, and they played big minutes.
And he made 13 of them. Yeah, 95%.
Yeah, wow.
I think he had 18. I want to say 18 of 20, but it was, by the end of the game, he only missed 2, like high clip, just Bryce Cotton things.
Yeah, I mean, he does know how to draw a foul.
Right.
It really is a skill.
Yeah. Never had it. Fouling. I'm your guy.
I got you covered.
Hey, I've got 5 to use. I'm not going to waste them. That's the stat line I can fill up. What are you talking about?
If you're not fouling, you're not trying.
If you're not fouling, you're not playing defense correctly. But yeah, look. Well, let's swerve into that. Let's look at the Wildcats now. They end up winning that game.
Yeah, they pulled it right out.
Pulled it out. Now, from where I was sitting, it really looked like the Breakers bench were making a whole lot of noise, getting noise, getting obviously refs, fired up. They then came over and said, "We'd come down," and then it appeared as if the Wildcats bench,
namely Ty Webster,
it's a little bit silly. But it was, they were built up by the Breakers, and then the Wildcats, bench saying a couple of little things. Yeah, just with that little bit extra.
They got right near the edge.
Yeah, a bit extra. But, and then, of course, in the end, Coach John really ejected for basically being right but being too aggressive in his, saying that he was right when so basically it was an 8-second violation. 15 seconds was on the shot clock before Parker Jackson Cartwright stepped over the halfway line from where I was, because it was really, I'm literally watching it thinking, oh, this is going to be close. He needs to hurry up. He's not hurrying up. And then he didn't step over. John really was a little aggressive.
I've never seen him heated in my life.
Then you didn't sit where I sat. But he's that ex-player. He plays with that. He coaches with that same sort of energy. Yeah. If calls aren't going his way, he gets frustrated with it, which I'm okay with that. Like a coach who gets into the game in that way, totally fine. Doesn't bother me at all. But yeah, he then picked up a tech foul.
Which was their third.
It's it was their third, but it was only literally.
You can get two. It was so weird.
Yeah,
they explained it on the commentary. You could get 2 bench techs if they're not on the coach, and then if the coach gets one, then they're out.
Yep, which is what happened in the end. But yeah, none of the tech fouls came from anywhere near John really until the third.
Yeah.
So, but one thing I did like was the way obviously Perth coaching staff had this conversation. They were ready to go. John really gets, but basically gets told by Vaughan, "You've got to go." Looks at him, mutters a few things under his breath, walks off, and literally it was next man up in the coaching. One stepped onto the court to then talk to the players, or up to the space. The other one moved one seat along, and we're off. We're good.
They have some experience in it from last year. I mean, you didn't want to go for the intercept when he threw the whiteboard marker back. That was your
mate.
chance.
I was just, happy to stay out of the way. It was all happening right there. Just, I fully understand your frustrations. Like, I get it. I almost wanted to say you were right, but then I, didn't want to catch a right either. Like, coming out. But look, it was one of those situations. Fully understand it. But, it happened. And from there was that thought of, Wildcats might be in trouble here then. Turns out no.
They took a time out to run a play and they executed it to perfection.
Yep. And held on for the rest. Anywho, and just, classic, as we talked about, Bryce Cotton. I fully expect Bryce Cotton to do Bryce Cotton things like Bryce Cotton typically does.
Yeah. I mean, they took it seriously. Like they took the Blitz quite seriously. I don't know exactly how many minutes they played, but it felt like they were in there a lot. Which, I mean, if you're preparing them for a season where John Riley's the kind of coach that only wants to play his top 7, maybe 8 guys, then it makes sense to get them some run under their legs.
Get them ready.
Yeah. I mean, I thought Izan looked pretty good as their backup center. He's definitely not like the mobile athlete that we had with Alex Sarr, but I think he's pretty good and pretty comfortable in his role. Like they put him similar to what Pinder's doing, like rim running and stuff like that, rather than Sarr was trying to play on the perimeter a lot. And
Pinder's still in the Batman mask.
Yeah, and he played so well. Like, yeah, he looks scary. So, I mean, that team is going to be really good. Windler looked pretty tough in a few, in some of his minutes there.
Yeah, not to begin with.
No.
I think he had a slow start to it, but that's the whole idea of the Blitz.
Yeah, the second half he looked pretty good, I thought. But
he definitely looked better in that second stint on the floor.
I think they're going to be them and the Kings are probably the teams to beat along with maybe Melbourne in that category. But
Could be.
yeah, they look really tough. The rebounding in the front court more than makes up for like Bryce and Ty being slightly undersized. So yeah, it'll be. I think it'll be a good season for the Perth fans.
Which, you know, they will be vocal if it isn't.
They'll be vocal either way. If it is, if it isn't, if it's in the middle.
Yeah, either way.
It'll be something said.
You're going to hear about it either way, right? All right. Now, Illawarra. Let's move it along. Illawarra Hawks. Not quite the, you know, it's close enough connection to the Tatum that I love, but
I mean, it's almost as close as you can get.
Pretty much. Yeah. But look, Tatum's back, and I quite like this, you know, young Lachlan Albrecht fella.
Yeah, that dunk was vicious.
Yes.
And coming off a great season across the ditch, so it'll look good.
Yeah, what he won MVP, finals MVP, like All-Star 5 and the championship. So as a 18-year-old. Yeah. So
yeah, in the Taranaki versus Rams game that I took in, it was very much a case, like obviously he wasn't the only piece.
Yeah.
But he was the driving force.
Yeah. I mean,
like he led that team so well.
It was
for a young kid.
It was, if I feel like it might have been slightly differently if his current teammate for the Illawarra Hawks was playing it for the Airs.
Yeah, he did have a slightly different, you know, summer league situation.
There was just no bigs on that. I was watching it because I was like, "Come on, Sammy Mack," and then I was like, they don't have any centers."
Yeah, probably Mini was the biggest they had.
Yeah, they were tiny tots. But yeah, he looked fantastic, and he looked really good for the Hawks too. So. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what kind of minutes and role he gets in this team. Like if they're going to play him mainly at the 5 like they did in that first game, or if he's going to play a bit of 4 and try and stretch it and see how that shot can progress.
Yeah. He's sneaky quick, I feel like. He moves quick for a big boy. So.
I feel like he's grown too. He looks like he's like put on another like inch and a half and then like also filled out even more. So it's
scary.
Yeah, it's honestly he's like on the draft radars, so he should be.
Yeah, I was talking to a couple of scouts at the Blitz, and yes,
he's so handy. Like and then if he can find that shot, then I mean he's kind of pieced most of it together.
And look, Tyler Harvey, he had 3 threes in the first. It was the first 4 or 5 minutes of the game, but it actually happened all in about a minute. And it was like, oh, MVP Tyler Harvey is in the building. And then it wasn't then for a bit.
MVP Tyler Harvey has left the
But it feels as like it's going to be a similar sort of question to had for the last couple, like which Tyler Harvey are we going to get?
I feel better about it now than I did before Tatum took over. I think he fits this style of basketball a lot better, where it's a bit more like up-tempo, kind of gets him into his rhythm a bit better. And then I think they've just got a few like more like people that can create plays instead of it being like throw the ball to Tyler and then
get out of the way.
Yeah. And that's not where he's going to succeed. Like he can break down someone, but you want to give like your best players like at least a slight advantage before coming into a one-on-one situation.
And has to be said, Blanchy.
Yeah, he looks good.
Oh man, still got it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, he can of course knock down the threes and that kind of stuff. But what he does without the ball is just so amazing to watch. Take notes, kids. Like on the defensive end, it reads it so well. It's great to see.
And I'm keen for more Will Hickey. I love watching him. He's just so fun to watch, and he works so hard on defense. And then on the other end, he's great. So he won't be starting, I don't think, over Kellen Harvey, but I'm keen to see him again, especially coming off last season. So
especially coming off his time with Albury as well.
Yeah.
Down south in that NBL one. But yeah, copped a bit of an elbow right in the mouth. It was a slightly wider screen than you're possibly quite used to. Geordie Hunter, I believe, they reviewed that one. And
I don't know about that review.
Yeah. But look, copped an elbow right in the chops, bounced back, had a really good game. So, yeah, if you can do that after something like that happens to you, you're going to have a good season.
Yeah. I think he might come in with a bit of a chip on his shoulder this year too. Like he had a really good season with Albury Wodonga and kind of got snubbed out of. I don't even think he got mentioned in he didn't get in the MVP final five or something, and he seemed like he had by far the best numbers in the league. So maybe he'll come in with that bit of a chip on his shoulder and work even harder than he has been.
All right, time to look as far north as we can. That's Cairns.
Oh.
Right.
Where the Tassie Jacks jump.
Well,
back to the Tassie.
One day there'll be a Singapore team in the league, right? Maybe.
Again?
Maybe. Well.
The Slingers?
Yeah, look, because it went so well last time. Cairns, Taipans. Now, Taron Armstrong will miss a game.
Just a rest miss.
Pretty much. And, of course, I believe Kyle Adnam has been ruled out for the Blitz, but should be back. But Rob Edwards, interesting player. I did like the way he was able to get to the basket and almost hook players with his body and then let the contact go through him as he'd go up for the basket. It was an interesting set of skills which I think could work in the NBL.
Yeah, I think he played well. I could not, if you were like, how many points do you think he had? Not a chance I would have got it right. I would have guessed at least 10 points less than he ended up with. Well, because he ended up with 24. I would have said like 13. And he just, he just went about his business and didn't do anything crazy. He wasn't jumping off the page, but he just got it done. Like, I don't think he played like huge minutes, but he just amassed the points. Like, yeah, you really didn't even notice him doing it. So it was quite impressive. When you now look back at it, I was like, yeah.
Yeah, there was a moment there where he came down, I believe, was his left or right ankle, and it was like, oh, he's limping a little bit longer than you'd want him to, and then Adam Ford took a timeout, and then he went straight back out. But, yeah.
I mean, Meneng.
Sorry, you just said left or right, like it was going to be any other one.
Left, right, or his centre ankle.
Righto, Chuckles. Well, obviously it was one of them. I'm trying.
Left or right.
Fine. I'll take the bet. 50-50. Adam Ford was checking in with him. Couldn't quite get a definitive answer. Took a timeout and he went straight back out and played well. So
I mean, yeah, they looked all right. I don't know how I feel about their second import as the wing. He looked okay. I mean, I guess they're looking for more just he's going to play like the first season Taj McCall. Like, you're out there for defense and whatever we get on offense, we'll take. But, yeah, Taron looked pretty good. I mean, there's still a lot of stuff that he can clean up, especially if it's going to be his team. And then, yeah, Wardenberg looked pretty nice. He's in for another good season, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't mind Tanner Groves. He had Adam Ford green light to knock it down from three. He was one point he was yelling, shoot it from the side. That's good to have from your coach.
Yeah.
If you're that bigger guy and you're open on beyond the arc and coach is yelling that at you preseason. Interesting to see if he's yelling that halfway or towards the end of the season just as confidently. But look, I thought Tanner played not bad minutes, so should be good, should be interesting. But look, we'll have to see. I really want to see Kyle Adnam, healthy and
wild Kyle.
Yeah, he's obviously towards the end, blah 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 blah, all that stuff. But just want to see him cook.
Sneak some minutes in there.
Yeah, let him run in off the bench. Let him get after it, and see what he can do, but or see what he can still do, whichever works.
Yeah.
But always love Adnam. Wherever he's ended up, wherever he's been playing, you always end up sort of rooting for the guy when he comes in off the bench, and always be a firecracker, almost always anyway.
Yeah,
So,
it's been a while since we've seen him. Hasn't really had much of a run for the last 3 years, I want to say.
Yeah, it was at Hawks last year. Didn't get huge burns. So, yeah. Look, hopefully we can see a bit more of him this season.
Yeah. Fingers crossed.
All right. We got two left. 36ers and the Brisbane Bullets. Let's start with the team that was able to get up in a preseason game over the Bullets off what you'd just bank in as the way to win games, a Sunday 4-point play with 5 seconds.
Yeah, great.
Just ridiculous. Hey, we're up 4. Don't foul. Whatever you do, don't foul a 3-point shot. Oh, you fouled. Yep, and he made it. Yeah, perfect. Yeah.
Yep.
The only way we could lose the game. But yeah, they always kind of look a little good in preseason, at least over the last few years. But yeah, their import connection looks good. Obviously, now Jarrell Martin's out for 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah,
doesn't look quite as good, but
potentially tricky.
Yeah.
Potentially tricky. Yeah, some defensive question marks up and down, and
I like their backcourt off the bench, like with Nick Marshall and Kadee. Those two have a good connection. DJ looks pretty solid. I mean, you hope he comes in like we were saying about Will Hickey with a chip on his shoulder after not really getting a look in at the Australian team.
Yeah.
And then Isaac Humphries could say the same
thing. Yeah. So
good season last year. Didn't get the Boomer selection. So possibly the same thing there.
Yeah. So I don't know. It'll be an interesting season. Like they really could go really well. Like they've looked frisky in the preseason stuff, and it's hard because the last 2 they've won the Blitz and looked really competitive, and then you go, what happened during the season? So yeah,
and the coach change as well, and that culture around that. So have to see how they respond.
Yeah, look, and that's going to be the interesting thing, which only time will tell. Do they get out with a couple of W's? Do they take a couple of L's to start? Where does that land stuff? All sorts of fun preseason hypotheticals. But yeah, look, we'll just have to wait and see. Obviously, a lot of pressure around the association with all of their, the decisions that they've made in the run up to this preseason. How things then shake out. That's going to be interesting. So it'll be when we're back here in a month or so, re-looking at this. We'll have some answers to those questions. But all right,
they do have an explosive offensive team. Like they really could put a lot of points up, and that's kind of where they're going to have to put all their cookies.
Yeah.
So
Kendrick Davis.
Yeah, he looks good.
Yeah.
Like shifty little strong guard, and I mean, we've had a lot of good guard imports come into the league and really dominate. So could be another one on that long list over the recent years that does the same thing. But we'll have to wait and see.
Yes, sadly, there's no fast forward button on the season. We'll just have to wait and see. Of course, most of us would probably hit the rewind button if we did have that remote, rewatch some stuff and catch it all in and stretch it right out over the postseason. Yeah. All right, let's bring it home. Let's do this thing.
Oh, the first one for the year.
Shoot you down.
We were right on key there. So.
Missed our calling, fellas. Missed our calling. Maybe we didn't. All right. Brisbane Bullets. What are we thinking?
I mean, Tyrell couldn't have looked much better. Like,
right?
I mean, a couple of shots were a bit wayward, but for the most part, especially that first half, he was dominant.
First 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Dunk, steal at the other end, and then drive to the basket, which ended up in going to the foul line.
Yeah. And making free throws. Like, it's really efficient. That's like, you can't ask for much more out of that guy. And he blocked a few shots as well. He looked really, really good. So, I mean, and you're not coming up against like a couple scrubs. It's one of the guys that went to the Olympics for the Boomers and Gorjak as well. So,
yeah, it's exciting what the prospect of Tyrell Harrison this season, after last season, just building all of the off NBL season that he's stuff that he's done with Spartans, with the Tall Blacks, his cup of coffee over in the NZNBL, everything he's done, he's looked so good.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and now that he's up at that next level, like the attention that he got at the NBL 1 level, he won't quite get, where he's getting double teams and triple teams. Yeah. I'm sure he'll have another even better year than last year.
And then you talk about good import guards. I think Bateman looks pretty good so far. That guard that we've been looking for that can score the ball, but he's also been passing really well, and I think he just looks solid all around. So I'm excited to see how he turns out. But preseason,
question mark.
That's the one.
After I said I wasn't super happy with how the imports had shot the ball, and then Bateman comes out and he's just like, "Yeah, you ain't." Shot the leather off the ball. So he looks really good. He sets the table really well for him. So the only concern that I have is that his handle looks shaky in the full court. And I think a few teams have put that one on the little scout. And look, the Jackies kind of tested it out for a second, and you could see the Bullets' reaction. So where they started sending different players back rather than just Bateman to handle. So that's my cause for concern. But honestly, they look pretty good. Without Bannon, it's hard to say like the front court rotation, how that'll roll. But it looks a little thin at the moment. But when you add 25 minutes of Bannon back in, then you're not getting as many JB minutes. And
Yep. And look, Casey Prather, he's looking good. He is looking ripped as all get out as well. Good sign. I thought he was a really good signing when we got him with an eye for this season. So that stuff's looking good. Rocco's on the improve.
More minutes from him will be handy. That backup, and then Toey's in there as well, playing a little bit of 5. So I think as a unit, it looks good. And that 3 spot's up for grabs with Casey and Smack when he eventually comes back. So we'll have to see who ends up starting in that one.
Yeah. Well, I think from what I had talked to Sam about, that he would be back in, I'd say, like another 2 weeks. Like I think he's doing everything but full contact training at this point. Like at this stage, he's doing the warm ups and everything with him. So.
Dress for the Blitz and that kind of stuff. So
I would probably expect him to start. And then, I think Casey will kind of play like that 3-4 role. So we'll see how his knees and everything are going and what kind of athlete that he'll be going forward after those couple major knee injuries. And I mean, he can shoot the ball and still create. So that's what we kind of need. We're not expecting him to be like the superstar anymore that he was when he was at Perth.
A little bit of veteran game rather than that explosiveness. But I think we look good personally.
I do too. I'm not going to go down the full, gushy, overly hope.
Yeah.
But I've been burnt before.
Yeah.
But, I'm very much positive, liking what I've seen. Obviously, there's some injuries there. So once full strength.
Still never seen Toey play better than what he's playing right now.
Right.
When we signed him, I was so out on it. I was like, are you kidding? Why have we signed this guy? And now I'm like, oh my God, Toey Smith-Milner.
But yeah, look, he's playing so good. It's like, but please get more time.
Yeah, or
Like,
continue this play for the season.
Yeah.
Don't let this be like the little flash in the pan, and then you go,
Yeah.
to kind of that Toei of old where he's a shooter, but he wasn't shooting well, or he was a bit immobile on defense. But yeah, he's been like, obviously it's preseason, but he's been really good, making good decisions, shooting the ball really well.
mm-hmm. Positive stuff.
Yeah.
Positive stuff.
Yes.
All right. That is almost going to wrap it up. We've just got one big thing left to do. Local card shop of Woolloongabba, Crackham. And this time I do not have NBA cards. Since we're at the Blitz, I've got some NBL cards. What do we reckon, boys? NBL cards from pretty much before you were born or current season?
Probably the current season.
Current
Not
season?
even pretty much.
I don't want to discriminate against 1994, but yeah, I was 2. My memory's not that great.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. So here we go. Unsealed pack. Let's crack it open so you guys obviously can't see it. And let's get into it. For those of you who haven't played local card shop of Woolloongabba, Crackham before, I crack open a pack of cards. I read the back of the card without saying the name. Every time I get to the name, I say somebody. If clues need to be given, they will be. And let's go with Capitals and let's go with Wizards as your buzzers, gentlemen. Of course, if you buzz in early and get it wrong, that gives all the clues to the other player. Now, let's make a start. Okay, card number 1. Here we go. For local card shop of Woolloongabba, Crackham, a former collegiate scoring champion in the United States. Somebody has continued to fill up the basket since joining Illawarra.
Capitals. Tyler Harvey.
You're not even going to let me get my family feud, Steve Harvey?
I'm not letting you get anything.
There he is. Tyler Harvey, number 1 for the Hawks. All right, that's 1. 1 to you, Sir Crackham King. All right. Card number 2 from the New Zealand Breakers. Signing with the Breakers in 2022. Represented a homecoming for somebody who was a proud Kiwi. He thrived.
Is it Isaiah Liafa?
It is Isaiah Liafa. All right. So far, we've got number 1 for the Hawks and number 2 for the Breakers.
It's a trend.
It's a trend that's about to.
Number 3. Is it Glidden?
It's not. It's not number 3. All right. Early in 2023, 2024, somebody joined Ricky Grace as just the second player in Perth history.
It's got to be Bryce.
It is not Bryce. All clues now go to young Mr. Pittman. Take a deep breath. Here we go. Just the second player in Perth history to play 450 games for the franchise. The 15-year veteran has helped the club win 6 NBL titles, serving as the captain since 2020. He has been so imperative, so important. Former teammate Damian Martin Lords, he's brought out the best in all of his teammates.
Wizards.
Yes.
Jesse Wagstaff.
Jesse Wagstaff. It is number 67 from the Tops collection. I'm going to put this over here in your pile, mate. Yeah. That is 2-1.
Thanks.
Go, Elliot.
All right. Card number 4. No pressure, but you really need this one, big fella. All right. Somebody emerged as an immediate playmaker in the NBL in 2022-2023, leading the league in assists while finishing 4th on the Southeast Melbourne scoring chart. After an off-season spent playing back home in Puerto Rico. He got off to a hot start to NBL 24. Somebody averaged 17.2 points in his first 5 games. including a pair of 20-point performances. Southeast Melbourne Phoenix at the time.
At the time.
At the time.
I can't think of who the guard was.
No.
Is it Puerto Rico?
Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico. An old first name. It's like an old man first name. Old man first name.
I'm drawing blanks.
And a colour for the second name. Guard spot.
Yeah, obviously a guard spot.
Yeah.
Guard spot. All right, he shoots righty. 1993 was his date of birth. Was when he was born. Hometown of Trujillo Alto in Puerto Rico. At the time of this, he was 185 centimeters and 84 kilos. He is Gary Brown.
Yeah,
Puerto Rico.
Would you really say that's an old man's name?
Gary? Are you kidding? That's an old man's name. We can do a poll on the socials if you want, but that is an old man's name.
I'd say that's a middle-aged man.
I'm sorry. The guy who was like youngish earlier was an insult. Now middle-aged is...
I'm thinking Neville.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I can't believe it.
Look, it's no Murray, but, it's an old man.
Yeah, I just would have thought he was American.
Yeah, I did not
I think that's
Puerto
probably
Rican.
through.
There you go. Okay, here we go. And a nice coast-to-coast insert. This one's a nice one. An 8-year veteran of the league, somebody earned all NBL second team honours in 2021. Before moving, I think there's a spelling mistake here, or grammatical mistake in here, but I'll read it as it is. Before moving the Adelaide the following season.
I think that's right.
Nothing wrong to your ears?
No.
He's a dependable player on both ends of the floor, can confirm, grabbing key rebounds and dishing out assists while defending tenaciously on the perimeter. On October 8th, 2023, somebody posted the first double-double of NBL 24. Adelaide 36ers at the time.
At the time.
We have talked about him glowingly on this evening's pod. You're going to kick yourself if you don't get it.
Yeah, probably.
Very much so. Spent some time in United.
Wizards.
Yes.
I just want to say Mitch McCarron.
Mitch McCarron, it is. There we go. Macca, nice little coast-to-coast
Yeah,
insert.
I couldn't
Nice.
get Isaac Humphries out of my head, and I was like, he's still there. We've gone to shambles.
Well, look,
It's 2-all.
it's 2 apiece, guys. Crack 'em king. Come on, buddy. Come on, mate. You got this. Or maybe you don't, Elliot.
Ah,
The revolution might be upon us. Maybe not.
We'll see.
We've been here with Jared before. All right. Final card of local card shop of Woolloongabba Crackham, a newcomer to the NBL in 2022-2023 season. Someone put up a whopping 13 double-doubles for Southeast Melbourne. He logged 5 of those in succession.
Capitals. Is that the big sauce?
The big sauce, indeed. Alan Williams. There he is. Shiny.
Oh, very nice.
Insert there. So that is going to go into the Anthony Kopcikas remains Crackham King pile.
Put the clutch jeans on.
And that is local card shop of Gabba wrapped up. Elliot, nice.
I'll take it.
You know, you don't have an option.
Yeah.
2 out of 6 doesn't sound great when you put it like that, but 2 to 3. That is bang on. We went right down to the final card, gentlemen. Well done, and thank you for joining us. Back on the couch. I think the youngish couple thing might stay.
Oh.
Elliot seems fine with it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I won't stay.
Okay. All right. If you think you can beat the Crackham King,
You probably could. Nice performance.
look, that is going to wrap us up. We'll be back Well, actually, I am on the road for the next couple of weeks, so we might take a small hiatus and we're back with some regular season action real soon. But gentlemen, thank you for jumping on and doing a Blitz style preseason episode. Absolutely fantastic. And look, we'll probably be back in a couple of weeks. I'll take the equipment with me on the road, but we'll see if we actually, get to record anything. I am going to see just a whole bunch of basketball people on the road, but I don't know if it'll all be recorded. Our conversations anyway. So look, let's put a pin in it. We'll be back in a couple of weeks when the regular season starts back up. But, thanks again, gentlemen. Please do go and support the local card shop at Woolloongabba and, get down there, see Rob, grab some cards. They've got plenty of other stuff as well. If cards aren't your game, get down there, give them some support. Thanks also as well to Dr Electrician for ongoing support. And look, that's going to wrap us up. If you're on the socials, give us those likes, follow, shares, all that stuff. If you're on a podcast service that allows 5-star reviews, please go ahead and do that. That stuff really does help. But until you're listening to us again, just remember, that ball don't lie.
It never does.